Some people.
Okay.
So the thing is, if you mess with the headphones, though, it might switch the mic settings. So be careful, okay?
Yes, let's not do that. Okay, so yeah, welcome back. So this is the second podcast that me and my sister Melissa have done. Her daughter Sampi is joining us, as you can see here. She's going to be doing origami, but I also want to get her perspective. And the reason I want to get her perspective is I'm an old school Star Wars fan, like a super nutty Star Wars fan. Like watch the original movies, kind of get upset when I don't have the VHS version of it, which I don't have right now, which has Han Solo actually shooting Greedo. Because I think that's more canon than the new ones. Greedo was the bounty hunter that Jabba the Hutt sent after him. Anyway, the blue guy with the weird hair. Anyway, so I think that Rogue One is probably the best movie they've made in 15 years or 20. And I want to present to you guys that statement, but also I would love to hear what you guys think about that statement. And I'd love to talk about why we think it worked or it didn't work or parts of it worked, and get your perspective on that. Is that cool? Oh, and before we
when you say you guys, are you meaning us or your audience?
No, I'm talking about you guys. The audience can comment as much as they want, and basically it's going to be like my mom and my daughter who are going to listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's nice that your daughter's going to listen.
Yeah, theoretically.
Theoretically, you're going to force her. Is that what? Yeah. Theoretically means you're going to force her to watch it.
Exactly. It's very possible, but yeah. So I'll just outline what I thought. And then, no, actually, let's start with you guys. What did you guys think of Rogue One?
What did you think? We watched it recently.
Yeah.
Even before you wanted to talk about it. Why didn't we watch it recently?
Because I was sick and my eyes were burning and she made me do it.
Okay. That's fair.
But why did it blur my figure?
We watched it after we watched what?
Andor.
The first 3 episodes of season 2 of Andor.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, let's remind ourselves who Mon Mothma is.
Yeah.
They look younger, but they're supposed to be older, is what she kept on saying.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. How do you feel about that? Because
Mon looks weird with her new. Is it new or old?
Yeah, it's her new hairstyle. Her very tight hairstyle.
Yeah, the one in Rogue One, I don't like her hairstyle compared to her current Andor hairstyle. Okay. You need to watch Andor.
So this is an interesting thing. I'll say about what's happening between Andor and Rogue One.
Okay.
So in Rogue One, we see Mon Mothma. She's like heading up the rebellion, right? She's got like those.
Is that the general?
She's the one with the tight red hair. She's like above the generals. She's actually like.
She's the one who talks about them.
I wouldn't say chancellor,
at the beginning or before they do the run to destroy the Death Star.
Yes. Okay. Yes, exactly. Okay. And she's the one that says, because we don't have consensus, I can't support sending troops out with you.
And they just go.
So right. So she was she was a senator before she was in the empirical. What do we call it?
Yeah.
The Empirical Senate.
Imperial.
Yeah. What is Imperial? Thank you. Thank you. I can't find the words.
Empirical.
What is her planet?
Empirical.
Yeah, that means truth.
Is it
Imperial Senate?
Is it Gordon or whatever? I can't remember.
Her planet? Chandrilla.
Chandrilla.
So she was a senator from Chandrilla.
Chandrilla.
Okay. That's funny. It's like you couldn't just say Chandrilla. What was that place in Nepal?
Shangri-La.
Shangri-La. That's what I'm thinking.
Right. Chandrilla. So it's funny because so obviously Rogue One came out in 2016, Andor the first season came out in 2022. The second season came out just
now
year, or I mean
2025. In 2025.
So 2025. Mon, who is like, yes, she's presiding She's presiding over the rebellion right now.
She owes them 4,000 credits.
She has very cropped hair, and she's very simple garb, but she has those chains across. So we see her in Andor, which is,
she
a year or two prior.
4,000 credits.
And she's much more...
$4,000. That's
400,000.
It's credits,
so she's very, very rich. Her whole family is very, very rich. But she's been...
pulling credits out of their savings.
For what?
The rebellion.
Yeah, to finance the
rebellion.
Right. But now the Empire, they're looking into people's bank accounts and stuff. So she pulls a trick at the expense of her husband, unfortunately, who used to be a gambler, I guess, where she just, in the back of their limo, she says, like, how dare you, are gambling again? And he's like, I haven't, I swear. And she's like, how dare you lie to me? And the chauffeur is like overhearing this, and he reports like, oh, it's the husband. He's been gambling. That's why she's missing that money.
Nice.
But they're both very, very rich. So it was a good cover. Anyway.
That's fine.
Yeah. So there's an interesting other thing that's happening in Andor 2, not plot wise, but
and
Jimmy Smits could not play Bail Organa. So they recast Benjamin Bratt so that they would have a real person rather than doing the like Grand Moff Tarkin.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, that was terrible, right? So Jimmy Smits is like, what is he on right now? He's on another show, and he was on another show when they were shooting, and they couldn't
they had to
sync schedules, so they recast. But it's great, it's like a human being. It's fine. It's Benjamin Bratt. No one hates looking at him. He's a great actor.
He's a great actor.
Though I love Jimmy Smits, but even Jimmy, they did some, animation of his face because of the prior movies. So,
So I very strong.
Actually, I didn't really mind.
You didn't mind
it?
I didn't. No.
You didn't mind what?
The CGI.
Because she doesn't know what those people looked like in the original movies. She doesn't have the records.
Yeah, that's
He's
fair.
kind of ripped, but this is my man.
Nice.
Tarkin looks like he's made out of clay.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that was like, we almost had computer graphics right, and so we tried it, and it was terrible. Like that's exactly what that makes me think when I see this.
It's not terrible, but the uncanny valley is there.
Uncanny valley.
Well, he looks like a cartoon.
For him and Leia. Leia, it's just like her cheeks are too long.
I didn't even notice anything. She looks better with the CGI.
The cool thing about them doing Leia was that it matched New Hope, right?
Right.
Like, and I thought that was pretty brilliant. I think that was one of the things that everyone who's a hardcore Star Wars fan, the main thing they want you to do is go watch the other movies
again,
and then make this movie fit into some sort of world where that is,
I mean, they are doing a lot of gymnastics, and sometimes it really works.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had some really thoughtful writers, and then they've had some garbage, and
they've had mostly garbage, and Rogue One was a thoughtful writer.
You mean for the movies? For the movies.
I just mean in general, like The Mandalorian was so good for the first season. Like it was so. This is the thing that's crazy to me, okay? And I keep going out into other shows just because there's so much material right now.
Yeah.
But like, it was so good they could have spun off a whole bunch of shows from that.
Well,
that's how good it was. For season 1, like you could have spun off at least one other show. And then like season 2 was so good you could have spun off 2 other shows. I think they could have spun off the show about like the Mandalorians who did take their helmets off. Like you could have had a whole separate show about that. Where it was like their culture was like so different from the other culture.
I mean, they are doing that.
Yeah, but what they did was they co-opted the Mandalorian show and took it away from the main guy, from Mando. And it was like, why? Like,
and now there's this ugly dude walking around.
Yeah. Anyway,
I mean, we can talk about Ahsoka and we can talk about the other ones. I mean,
Ahsoka's the best.
Boba Fett
was horrible.
Atrocious.
It was so bad. And it could have been so simple. But this is the thing that. Okay, so let's back up. Let me go back to Rogue One.
So can I say one thing? I'm just going to say one thing that I could not believe made it into Boba Fett or Fett, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
That there is an indigenous dude talking about indigenous characters on the show, and he's like, I can control them, basically. And you're like, what is happening here? You know, you're like,
yeah. Well,
you're not letting your real world life inform what's happening on screen. You can't speak up or something.
Apparently
was that when he was talking about the sand people?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't. Now, that might have been later in the show, and I didn't go too deep into that show, but I took it as like they taught him a ton of stuff.
Kind of, but
I never saw him saying like, I mean, they controlled him.
No,
but this is the other side of it.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that, but it wasn't that. But it was like a moment where he was trying to explain how the sand people, but he sounded like how they did actually teach him stuff, but he was talking like an ethnographer, and I was just like, this
like
is
what?
An ethnographer, like someone who studies other
cultures,
groups, like an anthropologist,
and that's the problem with having a person who writes a show and doesn't talk to the actors. Do you know what I mean? Like, it seems like if I was that actor, I would read that script exactly they gave it to me, and I would be pissed.
Well,
because I would be like,
I think
you could have come and talked to me about how to interact with indigenous peoples in a way that's believable and actually realistic,
The weird thing is that I think that Temuera, the actor, he's just from a different generation, he's from, and like, he was one of the only brown people to have more than a bit part in Star Wars,
Well, aside from that, I would say he's one of the only. At the
time that he started with them, he didn't feel like
indigenous actors. Period. You know what I mean? Like,
that's not true. But anyway,
what I'm saying is like, who's made it to that level? Does that make sense? Like, I think he is recognizable in American culture by face like that. You say, "Oh, I know that guy. He played such and such, and he played such and such."
And he was in Aquaman, right?
Yeah, and I think there's I don't think there's anyone from that region that is like that I can say that about, indigenous or non-indigenous for that matter. Like a New Zealander who's got like that kind of.
Yeah, Sam Neill, Frank. No,
does that make sense? Like, I'm saying for me, like, and I'm not in the world where I memorize actors' names and stuff, but that guy I could recognize. Does that make sense?
Right.
So I think that.
But Sam Neill, from the scientist from Jurassic Park.
For real, that guy's. I thought he was like Chinese. I thought he was Chinese. I totally thought. I've been thinking he was Chinese this whole time.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about Jeff Goldblum?
No. The guy who is the lab worker. The Asian dude.
Lab worker.
Yeah, let me pull up.
He's not an Asian dude.
Okay.
He's a white guy.
Okay, give me the. All right, the guy who I'm thinking of. I'll put him up. Scientist from Jurassic Park. Okay.
We're gonna have to do this.
Here, I got you.
Over. This is a mess.
No, it's not. It's fine. I think what it does is it brings us to a place where we're actually seeing or thinking about these people, which I think is exactly what I wanted.
What are you doing with my origami?
Dr. Henry Wu.
What do you do with my origami?
Is that the character's name?
Yeah, Dr. Henry Wu, the Asian guy.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
All right. I'm gonna share it. Hold on. Right here, this guy.
Look up
that guy.
There's a real.
Ugly.
That's the guy I'm talking about. Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Sam Neill. Okay, so
let me pull up Sam Neill. Hold on a second.
Sam Neill.
Stumpy.
Oh, that guy. He's from New Zealand.
Yes, he's cool. I mean, he was like born in Ireland, but he's from New Zealand. So
Biscoff.
Eating Biscoff. American.
This is Airplane Biscoff.
Meanwhile, B.D. Wong, who is Dr. Wu, I guess.
Yeah, Dr. Wu.
His name's B.D. Wong. He is American. you know, but he only gets to be in shows like Mulan.
Like I could see that. I could totally see that. Okay, so
but no, I was like Frankie Adams. Do you know Frankie Adams?
No, who's Frankie Adams?
She's someone, but from New Zealand. I'm pretty sure. What was she known for? What?
That lady?
Yes.
Yeah,
so she was in
her in my life.
You've never seen her in your life?
No. In terms of acting,
she was in The Expanse.
You
didn't watch The Expanse? Oh, Daniel, put that on your list. The Expanse. Really? Yes.
All right.
It's another like outer space. Like The Expanse is about Earthlings moving to Mars, like moving out to Mars.
And there was like a rebellion of some sort, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot.
Okay, I will put it on the list.
But
interesting.
I hate to tell you, like actors from, if you're saying actors from the region, are you talking about brown actors or?
Yeah, I'm talking about like indigenous
Russell
people
Crowe or Cliff Curtis.
Russell Crowe's British.
Rena Owen. What?
Every bad guy who's got an accent is British. I'm sorry. Like I'm American.
Cliff Curtis.
Anyway.
Rachel House, who was in the Thor movie with Jeff Goldblum. Anyway,
okay,
there are some people, but
right. What I'm saying is easily recognizable, like pop culture icon sort of people. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I would say Cliff Curtis. Well, Temuera is up there because he's working now a lot.
Aside from that, Temuera is the guy we're talking about, right?
Temuera who played Boba Fett.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so for instance, when I look at him, his headshot, I think of a New Zealander.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like I don't do that when I look at Sam Neill. I think
of course.
I think he's British or he's English or Australian or whatever. You know, like I'm not thinking like he's New Zealander. When I look at Temuera, I'm like that guy.
You're like, this is a Maori guy from
Aotearoa. It's a Maori guy. Exactly. That's exactly right. And actually, like the first thing that I think of is that Psycho Maori movie that we watched a long time ago about the guy who was like a ex-prison guy who shot people and like with shotguns. Do you remember that? I think Temuera was in that.
With shotguns.
Yeah, it was this crazy movie, and it was like an independent film from New Zealand, and it was about like a prisoner who had written a book, and it was about his life, and he was like a super violent like Maori guy who was just a criminal, and he just had a really strange life, and like it
I don't know about that.
Domestic issues that his family had, and like
yeah. Once We're Warriors.
That's it. Yeah, and it was like that was like one of the best movies I had seen in a long time, just cinematically, but also like in terms of acting.
My dad is calling me.
Yeah, no problem. So
how old are you?
I have to tell him about this.
I am 46. Wait.
Okay, so that film came out in '94.
Right.
Once We're Warriors.
And we watched it pretty close to that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like I think I watched that as a senior.
Maybe in like '97 or something.
Yeah, exactly, like '97. I think you had it on
3 years later when it was available on VHS.
Yeah. Exactly.
But so
let's get
first
back
showed
to
up as Jango Fett in Attack of the Clones in 2002.
I can't find my water bottle.
Okay, let's go back to it. Okay, so let's go back to Rogue One. Why do you think Rogue One worked?
I've been this.
It was very human. It was a very human story. I think there were a lot of. I mean. The practicals help it. You know, I think when they start trying to do too many effects,
I agree with that.
It's not a lived story.
No, right? It's a cartoon.
Right. I mean, there's that
CGI
incredible...
over like 20%. It's a cartoon. You know what I mean? Like it's just super fake.
But like there's that idea. Let me think. I mean, there were just some really good ideas in it, like the Star Destroyer. Okay, so talking about practicals and stuff, like the Star Destroyer being pushed into the disabled Star Destroyer being pushed into the other Star Destroyer and like being pushed into the to the shield. That was an incredible idea.
It was awesome. I think that was an awesome idea, and the fact that they're like just hit the warp drive while we're doing this. Like, oh,
right.
Wait a second. Can you do that? You know, that was one of those things that was so unique. And it was like, can you actually do that in that universe? You know what I mean? Like, can you do that in that galaxy? And I think one of the things that, okay, so that's one thing. I think it was introducing new uses of the same thing. Go ahead, Sempi. What else? What else?
I have a question about the difference in the Star Destroyer and the Death Star. Why is there a Star Destroyer that can destroy stars, but they don't have something that can destroy planets yet?
Star Destroyers don't really destroy
stars.
Then
why are they called that?
Star Destroyers don't destroy stars.
Then why are they called that?
Like, well, and so let's talk about that. It's because when men build boats, they name them stupid things, okay? And so, for instance, a battleship...
Wait, so you talk about yourself.
Hold on, slow down. World War II, a battleship doesn't go into battles. It goes into, like, ocean-bound, like, war situations, you know what I mean? Battles are usually fought on the ground. Now, like, are there battles in the ocean? I guess so. But, like, really, when you say battle to me, I think a ground war. Right.
But
so,
also,
like, it should have been, I guess it.
I mean, it could be in a battle. There are battles on the sea, but it's actually supporting other ships and stuff. You know, like.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes you just grab the closest name that sounds cool and you use that. So.
Right. I mean, they try to make them sound bigger and scarier than they actually are.
Exactly. But that's a good point.
Because then the Death Star...
Is the Death Star the size of a star?
No, I think it's the size of a small moon.
And then why is it called a Death Star?
Because
it
a big light comes from it.
An entire planet.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of like the Angel of Death, I think.
Yeah. Usually a star will give life to its galaxy. Does that make sense? So, like, a star is just the heat source, the light source, and the energy source for our galaxy. Our sun is a star, and it literally, if that went out, there would be no life left on Earth because our planet would drop to like negative 600 degrees, and everything would freeze to death.
Can't we just steal a star from that one planet that has 2 suns?
That would change gravity.
That would
how do we get it?
How would we lasso it?
How do we tow it? Like lassoing it, I don't even have a problem with.
Maui did. Like Maui did.
Like Maui did. Yeah. I mean, if you have a fake
you have to find Maui.
If you have a fake magical demigod with a fake magical hook, then I guess you could do that.
Temuera is the dad.
I have another question.
In Moana, also.
Oh, really?
My mom's Valentine. I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
How are they not melted on that planet?
On which planet?
Because there's 2 suns.
They were.
The one with 2 suns.
Oh, yeah. That's a good question. It depends on the distance they were from that sun and also the length of time that they would get sunlight. So, I mean, honestly, you're right, though. Like, there's such a precise amount of, like, distance between us and our sun, it will blow your mind. There's actually 64 different characteristics that is needed for a planet to have intelligent life on it. There's a great scientific article called Perfect Planet, which ended up becoming a book and ended up becoming a movie that describes why our planet is in the perfect place for scientific discovery and higher learning. If your planet is anywhere else in the galaxy, it's too cloudy to see other stars. If your planet is too big, there's too much gravity for life to actually survive. And if your planet is not distanced, like, to a moon that is also distanced to a sun at the right distance, then you can't actually get into theoretical gravitational, like, calculations. Like, you can't see you can't observe the right things from an eclipse. Anyway, so all that to be said,
the universe that is Star Wars is near impossible to exist.
Yes.
It's just too many.
I don't know. Like,
and also,
I mean, think about it like
this.
What? If
none of us know.
Well, yeah, statistically, it's not possible. But
do the 2 suns like set and rise at the same time? I can't remember.
Do they set and rise at the same time?
Like,
They seem like it because there's a nighttime.
at the same? Do they
You're talking about
move
on
like
Tatooine, right?
up like this, or do they move like you?
Yeah, you're talking about on Luke's planet, right? On Tatooine. Yeah. So on Tatooine, I think they do set at the same time because there's night there. Remember, the droids run away at night, and he's like, "We can't go out at night because of the sand people." So I think they're probably, I don't know, for some reason they're setting at the same time. Okay, so let's get back to Rogue One for a minute. Okay. When they crash the ship, Sempi, what do you think about? You remember that scene where your mom was talking about where they take the hammerhead and they crash it into the battleship, and it crashes into the other battleship, and then they crash it into the shield generator? I think that's one of the smartest things that I had seen. What did you think about that, Sempi?
I think it's as good as the two scenes in Avatar where Zuko and Azula go against each other, and when Aang and the Fire Lord go against each other.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I think it's probably that's one of the things that made that story very Star Wars to me, right? Because what
it's just a
people
little
want
bit
to see when they go see a Star Wars movie, they want to see at least one or two epic battle scenes. That kind of,
they want to see, apparently, according to the Star Wars creators, they want to see
as the Zuko and
a canyon fly through. They want to see swallowing by an enormous critter. That didn't happen in Rogue One.
Right.
They want to see someone climbing up an extraordinary long tower shaft and then falling and surviving.
That part I have issue with, but go ahead. Like, there's like multiple fractured spines in this that like magically disappear.
Brain damage.
Yeah,
it's like you're just like, thank God that they actually get burnt up by the bombing, because
I know
their internal bleeding
is just gonna kill them anyway.
Drown them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's not like he hit right. You know what I mean? It's like he landed bad. You know, like.
Right. It's like, but also like some of the things that are annoying. It's like, oh, her mom's alive. We have to kill her, or this is not a Star Wars movie. You know, like moms don't live in Star Wars. You know?
They have to be Lyra,
who survived this long, is going to do the dumbest thing when she's actually safe and she's taking care of a child.
Yeah. She's going to pull a gun on a bunch of guys. Yeah.
Right, on stormtrooper specialists, specialists.
On like 12.
And she knows they're not going to kill her husband because they need him. So let's kill the mom off in some ridiculous way. You know, it's like, okay. But
I will say
her daughter's a little smarter.
I have a question. Why did the blind guy let the blind guy literally killed the dad?
Which dad?
The
dad.
No, the blind guy.
Yes.
The blind
yes.
dude.
Sure.
I know who you're talking about.
Jedi. Cheru or whatever. Cheru. He's not a Jedi. He's a wannabe.
No. Let's be clear.
Force sensitive.
Let's be clear. He kept saying he wasn't because the Jedi were gone. That doesn't mean he wasn't a Jedi, because honestly, how would he be able to do what he was doing unless he was Jedi? How would he know
she was wearing a kyber crystal?
Right, exactly.
How would he be able to shoot down the?
But like, he destroyed this like thing, and like it crashed and made an explosion, and the explosion killed her dad.
Yeah.
But if he's so force sensitive, like, should he be able to know that it'll kill her dad and almost kill her?
Well, they said like the Rebel Alliance killed him. They didn't say that
the explosion killed him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Made by the Rebel Alliance.
I will say, like, that part is tough to watch. I don't know why. Like, that part, it's
dad's ugly.
Slow too. Like, it's a little bit like the pacing is weird on that set of the movie.
It didn't cut together well.
The dad's ugly.
The dad's
There's
ugly.
The dad is ugly. Okay.
What's his name?
For letting us know.
That's a famous actor too.
He's Galen Erso.
Yes, but your dad. Yes, but
what about my dad?
The actor is Mads Mikkelsen. Somebody does not like Mikkelsen. Yeah, Mikkelsen. Somebody does not like. Well, I don't know. How do you feel? I don't know. She doesn't like Scandinavians or something.
Okay, he's just ugly.
He's too pale.
He's too pale. Oh, that's so tough. All right, so there was something else that I wanted to talk about. Oh yes, so I think that one of the reasons why Rogue One works as a piece, as a movie film piece in the Star Wars universe, is the Greek tragedy. It's like
structure.
Greek tragedy structure in terms of just kill off all of the characters you fell in love with. Whereas like most of the other Star Wars films is like good wins over bad, right? Whereas this is not that.
Good wins, but not in this show. It's like
good wins in
good
movie
is
3.
starting to win. Good is starting to win here.
Unless you except Revenge of the Sith, where
I mean
good doesn't win at all.
I mean, this is the interesting thing.
The whole time in the movie where that comes after, where Darth Vader attacks Leia, I'm like, no. I'm here to see my daughter. She has snuck out of the house.
That's what's up. He's like, he doesn't know that that's his daughter.
And he's like,
You're grounded. You're grounded.
And he's going to put handcuffs on you and take you to your room.
God, make sure she does not leave her.
Did you go to bed last night? I don't believe your answer. Get that thing in here to...
I'm an ambassador. Heck, you are. You are
my daughter.
You're part of a rebel alliance and a traitor. Take her away.
I have a job, Dad. No, you don't. Get in your room. You'll always be a child to me.
You're not allowed to lock the door from the outside. Okay.
So the thing is that this film was able to evoke empathy in the audience.
Yes. 100%.
Like you wanted to be something?
How dare you miss curfew? Good enough.
But hold on, Sempi. Let's get back to Rogue One for a second. I want to hear what your mom has to say. Go ahead.
So, like, you want to be Jin, or you want to, I mean, there, like, people have Jin, darling.
Darling.
Jin Urso.
There's someone with that last time. I don't know her. I'm having so much Biscoff.
I mean,
characters are super. Like,
I found 2 pieces of Biscoff.
Stumpy, I want you to listen to the headphone and just make sure that when we're all talking, we each give each other a chance to talk. So I think I agree with you. I think Jyn Erso is a great character. I think one, it's like the reason she's a great character is because she starts out as a jerk. Like when she starts that movie, you're looking at her and she's just like, I'm just getting my stuff and I'm getting out of here. I'm gonna shoot people who are trying to rescue me. I just need to get out because my life has been so hard. I just need to get out. And that's understandable, right? But then it's like she comes to a place where she's like, wait a second. My life was hard not because my dad was a jerk. My life was hard because my dad was in a terrible circumstance and put me in a position to help make everyone's circumstance better, even though it made my life really hard. I'm okay with that, and I'll accept responsibility with that so that I can hopefully save the galaxy, if you will. You know what I mean?
So I think that,
and then I
die. But she doesn't start out as a jerk. She starts out as a child. And I think that, and it's interesting.
Yes,
so,
that's true.
So the thing is, though, so we have this little bit of backstory that she's a child that's gone through trauma. And you just think of, like, basically, we talk about trauma a lot right now in society, but when we were younger, we did not, right? But so many of us.
It was just like.
Right, it was life. But we also had parents that lived through wars,
Trauma,
especially immigrant populations. A lot of the immigrant populations that came to America, like these people lived through wars and they did not talk about it at all. And they just tried to like become Americans but they beat their kids, But so we see a person like Jyn who starts off in a family where we see there's demonstrated love. And that is taken away from her through gunfights, And then she is taken in by Saw, but then abandoned. So
at 16,
she's like at 16. So like she's kind of feeling okay, but she's in the fight then, and she probably felt like it was good to be in the fight because these people killed and stole her parents. But then those people abandon her, and she's like, oh, it really is only me out here. I have to do for me.
Right. And then you get reintroduced to her in that mindset.
Right. And that is probably where many, if not all, viewers have been in some even small way where they feel like, oh, my band of friends are not my friends. Or like, everybody has gone through these little human, at a smaller level, probably a human interaction where they could empathize with what's going on with Jin. And then how are we introduced to Cassian for the first time?
Why are we talking about Andor now?
No, we're not talking about. We're talking about the character.
We're talking about Rogue One. In
So
Rogue One, Cassian murders his friend.
Kills someone.
He kills the informer.
Who is like his friend? They're talking like they know each other.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that they do know each other, but I mean,
did he ever find his sister?
At least they work together.
Why did he stop looking for his sister?
Right. Well, there was an expectation from the guy to Cassian that they needed to both consider the ability for both of them to escape, which makes me think that Cassian was a friend to this person at some point, or the guy thought he was, which is tough because in war sometimes you cross those boundaries and sometimes you have to sacrifice your friends and it's not good.
Right. At that point, it is also scary though, because Cassian do we know, maybe we don't know at that point, but we find out soon after, if we don't already know, that he is a captain in the rebellion. So he's a leader and he has responsibility, and that he just goes and kills this dude. You're just like, what in the world?
Right.
And you maybe justify it as a mercy killing.
No, I think it shows that his character is really screwed up. Like, I think this is the other great part about this movie is
Andor, he kills two people.
He's imperfect.
He comes
in
Andor,
the thing that made in Andor, which is the show that's about before that show.
Yeah. Well, his last name is Andor. It's about him.
Yeah,
the show's called Andor, though.
Sure.
In case you didn't know.
No, I know that. I think it's named after him. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, named after him. Hello.
In Andor, the first thing he does is kill two people.
No.
Yes.
The first thing he does
is look for his sister, then he kills two people.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
so accidentally, those are the first accidents.
Well, he accidentally killed one person, then he killed another person.
Anyway.
But to be fair, like, let's think about.
We've seen him mercy kill other people.
Well, and in Rogue One, right? When we're introduced to him, you're kind of like, I don't think I like this guy, right? You want to like him because he's part of the rebellion. You want to like him because he seems like he's trying to accomplish something, but then you're like, oh, he just killed that guy. And so his character to me is very screwed up, and then he gets to a place of nobility, right? Like, and I think that the same arc happens to Jin. Yeah, like you see her and she's just completely not thankful that someone's trying to rescue her out of a prison, and like kills one of those guys or something, and then is or hurts or knocks him out. Yeah, messes him up. And then you're like, man, I don't think I like that girl either. But then as you watch the movie, you start to see them dealing with their crap.
I'm
basically,
smoking a Biscoff.
The way I look at it. They're starting to talk through like why they're upset. They start to address people who've hurt them. They start to address like why are we motivated the way we're motivated, right?
Well, I'm smoking a Biscoff.
I think that the thing with
it's a cookie, dude. It's a cookie.
No smoking cookies on this podcast. No.
I think that the weird thing about Andor, I don't hate him. I don't even hate him.
Go ahead. What's that?
I don't even hate him when he kills the guy who's injured. Like, I don't hate him. I'm just confused. I'm like, what just happened? And the weird thing is, I think that scene and then the subsequent scenes demonstrate to us a little bit of the reality of their war, and maybe a little bit of the reality of our war, our wars, where things happen that we pretend don't happen in order to advance our objective, right?
Trump.
Sure.
That's all. I'm just gonna say Trump.
No, don't say things like that. We're not talking about.
We're not talking about that.
So, I think I agree. I think there's a horror of war, right? That is I hate to say it, but sometimes is a necessary evil. You know, like
right. Well, we've
sometimes there is
agreed as a
collateral
society.
damage.
We've
Right.
agreed as a society it is a necessary evil.
Yeah, like
we
they
still don't want to
firebombed
show it
Tokyo.
to each other.
Like Tokyo was not a military
Right.
institution.
It was civilians.
Yeah,
Right.
we firebombed a bunch of civilians. Why?
Yeah.
Because psychologically we had to. Like we had to let them know we can touch your city. And you're touching our cities, and you're touching our country.
Right. And it wasn't working with the politicians, and it wasn't working with the military. So we're like, okay, we're going to tell your general public, you guys are not holy beings.
Sempi, one at a time. Go ahead, Sempi. What were you going to say?
Sorry about my face. I don't know. Sorry.
What were you going to say? Go ahead.
I don't want to say anything. I just want to make sure you can see this.
Pop. Yeah, that's a Star Wars Funko Pop. Right?
It's a Valentine's, Obi-Wan.
Let me grab him because
cool.
he needs to be included in this.
I agree. So so Mel,
Obi-Wan Kenobi, say hi, hello.
Nice, Obi-Wan Valentine Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Okay, so
my dad got it for her, and I found it in his office before he could. I thought he got from like work or something. I don't know. So I didn't say anything because he doesn't like it when I snoop his office for 3D printed stuff.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And
okay, so let's getting back to
Rogue
One
again.
Bathroom. Hold on. Getting back to Rogue One again. You can go for it. So. Yes, I think it is a good commentary on war. Now, I will say this though. One thing that I think where Star Wars has messed up is they break the fourth wall of believability. Okay, and let me explain what I think what I mean by that. Ooh, what's that?
A Banksy Funko
petrified poop? Oh.
No, it's Banksy. It's a Banksy.
That's kind of cool. Very cool. All right. So
put it back, Sophie, please. Stop it.
Let me explain what I mean by that, right?
I have a right to it.
So let's talk about... Oh, Sempi, before you go into the bathroom, take your headphones off in case the mic is on.
Other noise.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear what happens in the bathroom.
Yeah. And nor do we want to broadcast it to our podcast. So one of the things that's interesting is...
Should I lock her out?
That's up to you. It's up to you. I'm okay either way. I teach junior high Sunday school, so
stop talking because we only have a limited amount of time without her. Just move on to your.
So one of the things that I realized was the when you go to a play, you have to suspend reality, and that enjoyment of the play comes from a partial suspension of that reality.
Right.
If you don't suspend that reality, it's just
you're gonna have a hard time.
Yeah, you're just gonna be annoyed, and you're just watching people walk around, and it's like that doesn't make any sense. But
in a ridiculous way.
Yeah, and it's the story, and the suspension of reality that makes the play enjoyable, right? So I think the same is true in film. I think that there's a suspension of reality that you need to have.
Obviously, there's a lot of sound in their space.
Right. In order to... Right, exactly. Like, there is no sound, right? So I think the problem that I run into with modern Star Wars stories is they try to cram political issues into their story that are based on American politics or American societal issues. And the issue I have with that is it rips me out of the Star Wars galaxy because they're not going to have the same issues we have.
Yeah, I mean, so what are you talking about in this case? Like, I
think one of the things that Rogue One did really well is they avoided all of that. So they didn't have like,
I see.
Like a gay couple kissing in the middle of it. You know what I mean? And it's like, we didn't need it because it's not part of the story. If it's not part of the story, and I think that's when they start losing people. Is when they start shoving.
Wait a minute. You're saying that it is economic in the storytelling.
No, I think it is true to the idea of making a movie, where the idea is you have to suspend reality. You have to capture people's attention, keep them in your world, and keep them there, right? Like, for instance, one of my favorite movies of all time is Mitchell's versus the Machine, right?
And I've never watched it.
You've never watched it? Oh.
We tried to, and then somebody got scared at something early on. She was younger.
So one of the things that's interesting is the story is basically about this kid who's going off to college. She's got issues with her dad, right? And it's basically their interaction. The crazy thing is, like, she's gay in that movie. And it's totally fine because it's not an issue. Because the story just implies it, but just tells the story. As opposed to stopping the whole stinking story, shoving it in your face, and forcing you to watch it when it's not part of the story.
Okay, I'm not sure. Tell me what film you're thinking of, or what story of Star Wars you're thinking of.
Sure.
Because I'm not.
All 3 of the last Star Wars movies. Okay, like Force Awakens, I forget what the second one is, and I forget what the third one is, which is awful because I love the Star Wars galaxy and universe so much.
Well,
I should be able to know those movies, and I don't because I don't care about them. And the reason is because they literally spend the first movie just telling men they don't have to take care of women, and it's like.
Okay, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Okay, so there is a bit of a conflict here where you are, though, putting your own worldviews on the story, but you're annoyed that other people are putting their worldviews on the story. So what you're saying is that it's pulling you. You're saying that someone else's worldview is pulling you so far out of the story you can't enjoy it.
Yeah, they're pulling me out and dropping me in Manhattan. Because
I don't think that happens.
I just got spit on my arm.
I would have to say, like, the box office will prove you different.
I don't know. I think that they're failures, but I'm not saying it's that they're dropping you in Manhattan. I mean, that's a weird thing to say.
In Manhattan politics. They're dropping you in Manhattan worldview. Think about the first movie. Okay, think about A New Hope.
Oh my gosh.
Let's talk about this.
I don't know if I can think about these movies because, like, I'm confused at this point. Okay, New Hope I can. Yeah,
Let's talk about New Hope. What happens? Okay, in A New Hope, Luke has to be rescued.
Yeah.
Okay, he gets rescued by the old guy. Okay, then he also helps the old guy do what he's trying to accomplish his mission. Right. Then what happens is, Han Solo has to be rescued. Later in the movies, right? Leia has to be rescued. They all have to be rescued.
Right.
Why? Because life is hard.
Yeah.
Okay?
And we do things together.
And we all have equally problems. Does that make sense? In The Force Awakens, Rey has no problems.
Like their father.
Her main problem is she's waiting for a family that abandoned her.
Yeah, she has abandonment issues. She has no purpose in her life.
But she has no one teaching her. No, she never learns anything.
Right.
She never.
But that's a reality. That's a reality.
No, that's not reality. That's completely false. Name one thing.
She learned how to scavenge. I mean, people taught her certain things. She learned how to get herself organized.
Right, but the moment we meet her, she never
people
grows.
Who are hermetic.
She has no growth arc. Finn tries to help her. She just yells at him for holding her hand, for trying to rescue her the whole time.
Okay,
it's
wait.
Look,
I do not like that movie, but but I'm not sure. I'm trying to piece together. So now you're talking about the difference between Rey and Jin.
Correct.
Or no?
Yeah, let's talk about the difference
as the heroines
main protagonist, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Jin has problems, works through her problems, becomes a better person. Okay?
Yeah.
What Rey does is Rey works through her problems and abandons her problem. She never becomes a better person. What?
Which is finding her family?
Yeah, she just gives up on it.
I mean, so this is the weird thing about the difference between Rey and Jin is that Rey receives power. Like, that's her arc, and it's not an arc.
No one gave it to her. and no one trained her how to use it. This is the craziest thing to me. Like
right.
when
This
you
is what
watch
I
those
am
movies,
saying this. I am saying this. Like,
I
so
agree.
that's what they're hanging the whole story on. Like,
Yes.
she gets power.
Yeah.
It's like, who really cares? You know?
Yeah.
That's literally like, but there's a lot of things going on around her that are kind of interesting.
Yeah, like visually, you know, like story wise, there's like
I mean, the whole thing with Ben is ridiculous with Kylo Ren. It's terrible.
It was so backwards. Like it was like he starts out super powerful and then slowly just loses self-confidence.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. Wait a minute. That is fine. I mean, that happened to me because the leader of my family was constantly punching me in the face, you know, like that made me incapable. That made me incapable of succeeding at a level that I could have inherently succeeded at in life. So I could see that. But the reasoning around it and everything was garbage. I mean, we're talking about people who have purpose in the rebellion against an evil force. Like, that's legit. But then all these petty things that are happening, it does still happen in life.
It does.
But it was just so weakly written, and it was so purposelessly written. And it was kind of like, we're going to show these backgrounds. We're going to show this new jungle. We're going to show a new
lightsaber
animation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, this is for marketing. Like, but actually, I got to tell you too, like, I was shocked at the casting of Daisy Ridley, you know?
Yes.
And I also am really, really shocked. She can't act.
That's not helpful either. But also she was
in
too
that
big
film
a name.
anyway.
How do you spell Leia?
When Luke
Leia.
Leia, yeah. When Luke was cast, he was a nobody. You know what I mean? The only person who was like famous was Obi-Wan Kenobi, the old guy. You know what I mean?
I don't know who Daisy Ridley was.
Before that?
Before that. I don't know what she was in.
I don't know. But I think she was just too big a name. And also she wasn't like hungry enough to actually learn how to act.
No, I mean, I think she didn't understand her character.
No, I think she understood it perfectly. The problem is it was written like crap. Like
her delivery is crap.
Well,
I mean, but this is the weird thing. So this is the weird thing, like the difference between, which a lot of people don't understand, which is also very interesting, is the difference between bad directing, bad writing, and bad acting. Like people
100%.
Who are good directing.
Yeah, the directing I think could have been better. You know, I think J.J. Abrams did a good job. I just think he didn't.
I mean, there are directors who are good at directing the things without being able to direct the humans, you know, like good at creating effects, good at creating like world building and all this. And you can't, or you just ignore the part where you have to work with people who may be unseasoned actors, you know?
Well, I mean, did you see Super 8?
I didn't.
Oh, okay. If you think that J.J. Abrams is a bad director, go watch Super 8.
I don't really.
It's crazy. And I don't think he's a bad director. I think he just had a terrible script. Like, I honestly think the worst part about that movie was the script, because
the script was horrible.
Number one, it was like, first of all, you have to write.
I'll tell you why. I think.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No. I would love to know why.
In a nutshell. Yeah. In a nutshell, why I think those last three films are horrible is because what they're trying to talk about outside, like what they're trying to make the kernel of the film about, even though like all these politics are happening around it, the kernel of the film is about spirituality, and you just feel like the writers know nothing about true spirituality. That's what I think. That's what I think is the real problem, and they're forcing this issue. Like that whole scene where she's like in the cave, like it's not.
It didn't make any sense. Like I still think about that scene and I'm like, what is the point? What is the point of you're going into that cave? Like the idea behind Luke going into the cave and having to fight his own demon and it was him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's a very simple thought process, and that is something that people have to think through in their spirituality. You know what I mean? Whereas like going into a cave, seeing myself, seeing my like someone abandoning me, and then I just see myself forever. Like, so it's just all about you.
Like, so the weird thing is though, when you are in like a public bathroom and there are mirrors on both sides and you're 7 years old and you see that and you see this thing for the first time and you're like,
oh, it's fascinating.
It's fascinating. There's something about the world I don't quite understand. How is my image able to be replicated in this non-mechanical way? Right. But you don't see any wonder on her face at all.
That's true. It's blank.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't remember, but I have a feeling that Mando and Cassian Andor look similar for some reason.
Mando and
Cassian. I think they do. I think they look like they could be cousins.
They're both mustachioed.
Mustachioed, they've got brown hair, and they're kind of scruffy looking.
Wouldn't that be interesting if Cassian Andor was Mando's dad? Because Mando is an orphan who was taken in by the Mandos.
He wasn't actually from Mandalore, so that's true. That could possibly be it. So I think, and who approved the society that throws helmets on kids and never lets them take them off? What a weird society.
Wait.
The acne years must be really bad.
What was his name? What was
lots of infections.
What was Mando's name?
It's like, you smell like a hockey bag. Nobody minds? Because it's bothering me. Nobody minds that you smell like a hockey bag.
Like, what do you do are you like hosing your hair off inside the helmet? Like, what are you doing?
No, he can take it off.
Yeah, could they show us the helmet sanitizer in the ship?
He can take it off, but he can't take it off in front of other people.
But they should.
But if you're on the planet, of you're on the Mandalorian planet, on Mandalore, on Mandalore. If you're on Mandalore, you can just take your helmet off forever. But like apparently,
maybe that's what the holy waters of Mandalore are for washing helmets.
Wash your helmet out. Oh goodness, get that smell out.
Oh my gosh, let's make a video where it's just about Mandalorians showing the other things you get that they don't talk about on screen, like the sanitizer.
This is your helmet sanitizer. Listen, you're going to need to use this helmet sanitizer at least twice a day.
What is the metal they use?
It is
something steel.
I can't believe I can't remember it.
I know, the Mandalorian.
I blame season 3.
Okay.
When the writing got super bad.
Beskar, thank you. Beskar.
Yeah.
So
she looked it up and she couldn't read it. She couldn't read it.
I went too far. Your first gift of Beskar is used to make this sanitizer.
Yeah.
Even before you use it to make a helmet, you have to make the Beskar helmet sanitizer
and prove you can sanitize things.
Wait.
The classes. Classes.
No.
In this order, you must press the buttons to sanitize.
And you have to use Head and Shoulders because we're not going to have dandruff falling out of this helmet thing. You know.
Yes,
wait. You must risk your life to go to our Mandalorian planet to get the water from the holy springs and put it in your sanitizer.
Yeah.
This will be the only thing that sanitizes your
the only thing that can handle that much bacteria.
The waters of Mandalore act just like a nice Korean face mask
for your helmet. This is the only thing you can use to wash it. Right. This Mandalore, it was forged in the forges of Mandor. It is your cleaner.
How do you clean that helmet? We just hold it over the forge for like 10 minutes to make sure the smell gets out.
It will be done.
All right. Okay, so that's my theory on why Rogue One actually works. Is because one is a Greek tragedy, and it's like no one escaped. You know what I mean?
This
Like,
was made in the forges of Mandor. This is your helmet cleaner. It contains the tiny amount of Mandalorian water that is used to clean your helmet. This water will be forever.
You need the slime off the back of the.
Yeah. Okay, so secondly, I think the first thing is
Wait.
So this is interesting too because nobody survives, but information survives, right?
Wait. There's apparently in the show it says in Mandor
We're
that
not
there's
talking
a
about
group
Mandalore.
of people.
We're not talking about.
We are now. We are now. This is now about Mando. Not
invited into our mess.
Focus, Sampy, focus.
No.
You're part of our family, so we know you have severe ADHD just like us, okay? So you need to focus.
It's disruptive.
It's disruptive.
I got this from my mom from this thing.
I'm pinching your head. Okay.
What was Daniel was trying to say? Nobody survives. Greek tragedy.
Okay,
nobody survives.
But wait, there's a group in Mando.
We're sharing.
It's just like.
Sambi, let's take turns, okay? So these are the reasons why I think Rogue One worked, okay? There was a guy making fun of the movie the whole time, just like in the original 3. So Han Solo in the original 3 is making fun of the movie the whole time, like the plot. He's just joking about like everything. He doesn't care. The robot in Andor or in Rogue One is just joking about everything. Like he's like just doesn't take anything, right? He's so funny too.
He's like, did you know? Wait, Cassian, there's a problem on the horizon. There is no horizon. That was our leading joke the whole time.
Yeah, it's super funny. It's funny to watch that because it's so like the universe is so ridiculous, right? Like that universe, you have to suspend so much belief that having this person like not take it so seriously is super helpful. I think that was missing from the last 3 movies, right?
Died.
From The Force Awakens, that was missing. Everyone was taking it seriously. And it's
that happens in the first 3 movies too.
The saddest part,
the first 3 that are the second 3.
The saddest part,
yes.
Jar Jar Binks. Yeah.
They take themselves too seriously.
Seriously. I mean,
the saddest part of Rogue One is the fact
Sempi.
that K2 died.
Yeah, that was one of the saddest parts. Sempi, let your mom say what she was saying because I think that point is really important. What were you going to say, Mom?
I think like that's what's surprising about the last 3 films is that the second 3 were so serious and they were trying to like fill in some gaps like with midichlorians and stuff and you're like, why?
Yeah,
let there be mystery in life. It's like people who fight over whether or not Shakespeare was one person. I'm like, who cares? Yeah. Either the words speak to you or they don't.
Look at this giant pimple.
Don't fight over it. Fine, try to discover it, but don't. Stop
I took off
She took it out of my breast.
Wait.
All right. So I agree. I think that Sempi, stop for a second. I think that I agree with you that they're trying to be too serious in episode 1, 2, and 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think also the thing that like strikes me about episode 1, 2, and 3 is they tried to sanitize it. Like when you go back and watch the first 3 they ever released, 4, 5, and 6, the ships are dirty. Like stuff is breaking down. They can't even the ship's not even put together when they're leaving Hoth. You know what I mean? Like Julie, why'd you take that apart? You know, like it's so funny because that is something that someone would do. Like some guy's gonna pull the engine out. Like I'm just gonna make it faster real quick.
In Rogue One, it's like they're like, oh, everybody said everything was too clean. We have to dirty this up because there's that one scene when I mean, I have the visual in my head when Lyra is saying goodbye to Jin and she reaches out to Jin's hands and Jin's hands actually have like
mud on them,
dirt on them. Like not just like they're dirty. It's like actually like a cake of dirt. It was like someone took a potted plant and just like shook it out on her hands. And you're like, what? Okay, sure.
Sure, I guess that's in the movie now.
Right.
Go ahead,
but
Sandy.
then
what do you?
There are scenes later when they're underground, like with Saw,
Yeah.
And everybody's sweaty and dirty.
While we're still here and while we're still here and like on the subject, with K2 in it, take K2's personality and compare it with the babysitting bot from Mando. Remember the bot that died?
Babysitting bot?
The bot that they turned into Grogu's thing. They're like, no. But before he died, compare the two robots, his personalities, and you get the same thing.
You think so?
Yeah.
Is he making fun of Mando? Like that whole? He's making fun of the whole story that in that show.
Well, not really, but that guy, the babysitting bot, is basically the funniest robot, and he's super cool.
He is.
Same thing with K2.
I agree.
Did you know that wasn't me?
No.
That's so funny.
Cassia, there is a problem on the horizon. There is no horizon. How come she gets a gun?
Yeah, how come
I want a gun.
Blaster.
Statistically, she's going to shoot you.
Blaster.
But he has the personality of the original bot. Cause in Andor, there's one of those bots. The original K2 before he got
like a different K2.
Andor. In Andor,
they introduced those battle droids.
But I'm feeling that the battle droid that they introduced is the same one as K2. But it's super funny because they told the bot to hang on to Andor when he gets arrested because he was like walking away from like a problem and they thought he was part of the problem and they're like, hang on to him, and he's like, hang, and then he hangs Andor.
Oh my goodness!
They're very literal.
Hey!
Okay, so I think those are two of my main points. I think those 2 points are like kind of the critical ones. You get invested into and character development. Okay, so this is the other thing. I think that The Force Awakens fails because they don't develop the character well. The character of Rey is interesting. The sets are interesting. Yeah. But her character in particular is not really well... I don't want to say it's not well developed because they gave it time. But I think the writing was just so bad. I think it really boils down. The writing and the acting was just so bad with Daisy Ridley. And I don't think they did her justice in terms of like...
sincere. I mean, it's the sincerity of her life that I find... really does not do anything for me, I think.
Right.
Like, I haven't watched that film in a while for obvious reasons. But
yeah.
I just remember her being so sincere, you know? Yeah. And the weird thing about, I mean, there's a lot of ones, but I didn't understand Finn's character or like how...
Yeah.
There's a lot going on that's just bad.
Well, I think it could have been great. You know what I mean? I think when they ended the first film, they could have gone in such a direction that would have been amazing. And I think it would have been totally different than any of the other Star Wars stories they had told. What I think they should have done...
When did it come out? I'm trying to remember.
I think it was 16 or 18, something like that.
16.
What I
Pick
think
a
they
color.
should have...
Wait, I have a Star Wars character categorizer. I have a thing that just has a bunch of characters in the thing. This is a fortune teller.
Okay.
Pick a color: white, black, dark gray, light gray.
Black.
BLACK.
So
8, 3, 7, or 4.
4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Now 8, 3, 7, or 4. Again.
4 again.
Okay. Let's see which character. Yoda.
Yes. Yeah. Let's go.
Is that who you are?
Yes, that's who you are.
That's
you.
He's
Yoda.
I accept.
Mommy,
okay.
Pick
so
a
one
color.
of the things.
White,
hold
black,
on a second,
light,
Sampi.
gray,
Hang on for a second.
Sampi, wait. Okay. So one of the things I think would have, where my mind went to at the end of the Force Awakens was, Daisy Ridley's character is going to become a Jedi. Finn's going to become a Jedi. And Poe Dameron could have become a Jedi. And the reason why I thought that was Poe had reflexes that were Jedi fast. You know what I mean? He was the best pilot in the galaxy.
I think with Poe, they were trying to recreate Han Solo, though, right? Who is not a Jedi.
Yes,
right.
And that's where I think they failed. Like, you don't need to recreate Han Solo. You need to find a new character and build the character, right? And the interesting thing that would have done is that would have had 3 people who needed to figure out how to become Jedis in 3 totally different ways, right?
Yeah.
Rey had natural ability.
Right.
Finn has like this
stormtrooper
background. What's that?
He had a midichlorian infusion.
No, like Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, right, exactly. But
I mean,
but aside from that, it was like, how would he deal with the darkness that he's already gone through as part of the organization? You know, like the First Order.
To me, The Force Awakens. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
And then I thought, like, Poe, it would have been cool as like kind of almost like you didn't think about that, but he does, right? And so it would have been one of those things where maybe they go back to Leia, and Leia starts to train them with what knowledge she has. And then she's like, this is all I know. You have to go find Luke. And then it makes more sense. Does that make sense? Then there's a reason to go find Luke.
Yeah, so that's... Okay, so this is an interesting thing. One, talking about Leia as a Jedi, because, you know, at the end of Rogue One, right, when Mon Mothma is like, do you have someone you could trust with this? And Bail Organa is like, yes. She's like, or Mon is like, oh, the Jedi that, do you trust this Jedi? And he's like, yes, with my life. But it's his daughter, right? I mean, his adopted daughter, Leia. And so they're talking about Leia as a Jedi in at the end of Rogue One, which they never give her that in the original movies, right? Which is very interesting.
What do you mean?
And
they never give what?
They never really in New Hope in 4, 5, and 6. They don't give Leia the satisfaction of being a Jedi. Really, they're like toying with it,
becoming with it. Yeah,
right. They're like, she's Force sensitive and she's a princess, so that's good enough for Leia, right?
Well, but they said if Luke fails, there's another, and that was her, right?
Right, but it's not like they're training her. They're not training her up. They're not sending her, you know, to go hang out with Yoda for a couple of years or whatever. Dying. Well, yeah, I mean, but anyone else. They don't train her, you know, they don't send her to be trained by a Jedi Master.
And her mom's dead.
Yeah.
And then the thing that is weird about The Force Awakens is that the most interesting thing to me would have been if Finn ended up being a Jedi and the other 2 did not.
Agreed.
I mean,
that would have been cool.
It would have been awesome. So the thing, there's so many things with The Force Awakens, and again, this is another film I haven't watched in a long time. I should watch it again. But I just remember being so upset, that John Boyega was using an American accent. I'm like, why? Why is this British actor in this basically everybody's British film using an American accent?
Because all the British accents are evil. That's why.
Right, I guess so.
In American filmmaking, like they're all the bad guys.
Well, Mon is a British actress or Irish. Like, there's a lot of Irish people.
That's why we don't trust her. No.
But also, but the anti-misogyny in it, it's just, I'm like, I'm just like anti-misogynation. Like, it's just like they are saying people of different races cannot be together. Like, and was the takeaway from that. It was disgusting to me. I'm just like, are you that afraid in 2015? You're that afraid? Or are you that selfish? You know, that to me was just disgusting.
Well, and it's weird
and it
too,
got worse because it's like, oh no, we'll make him a girlfriend, but she's also a brown person.
Asian. Yeah,
I know. I'm like,
Like, like,
you owe me $2 more.
Not only did you make it,
that's $10.25.
Now you've appropriated like another racial group for no reason. Like, why?
Cliff Curtis used to call, like, you know, the supporting people of color the brown ground. Like,
$10.25.
And I'm like, this is so disgusting. John Boyega.
Sempi, stop, please. Sempi, stop, please. Let your mom talk.
Yeah. We actually can hear you on the microphone.
That's the point. That's the point.
But you got to realize the point is, hold on, Sempi.
Do something else because you're bored.
No.
Sempi,
I'm not bored.
Then why are you?
Sempi, let me explain something. Hold on, Sempi, let me explain something. The point is to be on camera to contribute to the conversation. That's what makes a good podcast, okay? We don't mind you being here, but you need to contribute to the conversation. If you're just going to sing, it's actually going to take away from
here.
It's going to take away from the conversation.
I need to know which character my mom
Are you listening to your uncle?
Yes.
What did he say?
I don't have a problem with that. Let's do that. Let's do that now, because I think that the fact that I'm Yoda seems to bring a lot of credibility to your thing. So let's do your mom next. Go ahead. Let's do your mom.
My white, light gray, dark gray, black.
Wait a minute. I was going to say something.
Oh, sorry. The appropriation of the Asian person as the girlfriend of...
No, the thing about the bad writing in Finn's character, or John Boyega, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because, like, did you see Attack the Block? Attack the Block.
No, I heard about it, though.
My goodness.
So
Let's
good.
see if it's available.
It's an alien movie,
So
right?
good. It's an alien movie, but it comes to, like, the projects in London.
Right.
Council housing. And John Boyega and his friends have to defeat these aliens that are in, project housing. It's not like it comes to like Beverly Hills or something.
Yeah.
Means are.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my goodness, they've attacked us here at.
And it's just genius. It's these kids succeeding. And he is wonderful in it, and he's like a kid in it. He's a kid in it.
Yeah, he's.
So it says it's on Hulu.
Nice. I have Hulu.
Or Disney Plus. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I have to. Let me write that down, or I'm gonna forget.
Attack the Block, and I think you can watch it with kids. Let me see.
Yeah, I don't think it was high.
I was so, but you and me, we both agree on this too. That I was so excited for him to be in the second Pacific Rim.
It's rated R,
and it fell so flat.
So
like I was so mad when I saw the second Pacific Rim. I was like, you had one job. Well, all of you had one job, like
I know,
like attack monsters with what are we doing here?
I know. That's another. We'll have to talk about the first Pacific Rim sometime too.
The first one is amazing. Like
one of my all-time favorite films.
We go back whenever me and Matthew are like, we need to watch a monster film. We're like, Pacific Rim. You want to do Pacific Rim? We want.
It's one of the few films
about
I
Wicked.
Bought, so that I know it's always
talk about Wicked or the show that it's about, The Wizard of Oz. We're doing The Wiz at school.
Right.
Oh, really? Your mom was in The Wiz.
You didn't tell me that.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
this is so sad.
Except I'm tech support, and we're practicing during aftercare. And I was never told I was supposed to go to practice because I'm tech support. And whenever they asked, I thought they were talking about the actors.
Oh, no, crew has to be there. You got to be there. I was crew for a long time in plays and stuff. That was fun.
She never told me to come. I just
Always
knew.
Always go. You get to watch the play early.
Wait, are you in trouble now because you never went?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
I've been asking her about what I'm supposed to do. Good. I wasn't told what to do.
They'll figure it out when you get there. That's the problem with being crew is it's really hard to know how your crew is going to affect the play until you actually start doing it. So, like, dress rehearsal is probably the last time they'll change what you have to do, but sometimes it's the first time they know what they want that part of the crew to do. So, you may have to wait all the way until dress rehearsal before they really know.
You like my glasses things?
So, I know we kind of went into The Force Awakens a bit more than I thought we were going to.
Yeah. We're all over the place.
I think, I agree with you that, John Boyega's characters, they could have been amazing, and I think they just missed it. You know what I mean? Like, how many people in the world wanted to see, John Boyega become a Jedi in the second movie? I think, I know for me, for me, when I saw him pick up the lightsaber, I was like, yo, let's go.
Yeah,
That's going to be cool. You know, like, I can't wait till the second movie. In the second movie, I'm like, where's his training? Where's his training? I'm sitting there waiting for his training, like, the whole time. And I'm like, did they really miss it? How could you miss it? How could you miss it? You know, like.
I mean, you literally.
If she doesn't do the fortune teller, I'm gonna do it. So
that's fine. So the weird thing about like the whole thing with like Finn and Rey not being able to get together, it could have been because he became a Jedi.
That would have worked, or that she became a Jedi.
Right. It's like it could have been, but that they didn't even have the foresight for that. It's like, no, let's be racist instead. You know,
it's like we need to get him a brown girl.
Right, exactly. And there's no Jedi but Samuel Jackson. You know, it's like
I got Obi-Wan Kenobi. I
You're Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I did the wrong number, so
Obi-Wan Kenobi is a great character.
I don't want to be.
Well, and also, okay, let me also say this. I think the other issue was there was no nobility. So in the original movies, people go from being normal people and they become more and more noble progressively, right? And actually in Rogue One, the main characters become more and more noble progressively. You kind of see it. The robot, he's been messing with them the whole time and he sacrifices himself for them. Cassian's been a kind of a scummy leader who's like assassinating people, trying to kill people who shouldn't, like, who he should be protecting, and is like becomes a better person. Jin is like a selfish, like just trying to fight to save her own skin sort of person, and then she becomes a person who sacrifices herself to like for the greater good. You know what I mean? And it's like,
I got Leia.
What happened to these other guys? You know what I mean? And also, by the way, if Han Solo dies, Chewbacca gets the ship. He's the first mate. What are you doing? Like, what are you even talking about? Like, it's not even close. Like, what? She should have been the first mate. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that because she wasn't a full Jedi by then, and she might leave to become a full Jedi. And then Finn could become the first mate.
Chewie wants to go home the entire forever. No, always wanted to go home.
Chewie just wants to go back to the trees, you know, to the tree houses from episode 3.
How does he talk? Give me your best.
Best Chewbacca.
Give me. Oh, or your best Jar Jar Binks. Give me either your best.
We're not doing Jar Jar Binks.
Okay, I will say this: at the end of that first movie with Jar Jar Binks, if in the second movie he was the Sith Lord, the whole movie would have made sense.
Amazing. Yes.
The whole movie makes sense.
The dude that accidentally killed his guy.
Yeah, because the thing that was interesting is when he goes to his hometown, they're like, you can't come in here. We have to execute you. That's what they're telling him. Like, you came back, we're executing you. And it's like, wait, what did he do that was so bad? He needs to be executed. You know what I mean? And then they're like, why are the Jedi protecting him? And they're like, just like, not again. And that's what the general says, not again. Right? He's like, not again, Jar Jar. You're going to the big boss. You're done. And it's like,
Jar Jar be in trouble if you go back.
Yeah, and he's
Jar Jar
over
be in
the Clone
trouble
Wars,
if
right?
he go back.
Yeah, why?
Jar Jar don't want to go back.
Don't talk baby talk. This is not baby talk time. Talk like an adult.
No, she's talking like Jar Jar Binks. She's trying to talk.
Oh, don't do that either.
She doesn't talk baby talk.
You
don't do that either, right? Yeah, don't do that
either.
It's a Jar Jar Binks or a Chewie. Choose one.
But it's interesting if you go back and watch the films. He actually does a bunch of force stuff. Like he force jumps to get into the water. He's like kind of messing with the Jedi the whole time. He's like making fun of their understanding of the Force.
Which maybe that's why his people don't
like Jar Jar Binks or Chewie.
Is because he
you
is
have
to
choose one.
Because he was a Sith Lord, and he had messed up their whole society. Yoda. And what did he tell the Jedi? Oh, it's because I'm clumsy. That's why they're trying to kill me. It's like, what?
Right.
No one tries to kill you because you're clumsy.
Right.
You guys,
I will
evoke your Yoda-ness if you don't do a Chewie or a Jar Jar Binks impression.
All right, I'll try to do a Chewie. I don't think I'm good at it at all.
You
she has to do a Jar Jar Binks though.
No, I can't do a Chewie. I'm not good at it. I'm not. I can't make the sound. Do you do it, Mel?
Do a Jar Jar Binks. I'm talking to her. She has to do a Jar Jar Binks.
I feel like I have to drink water. It's like
I don't think. No, you don't have to do a Jar Jar Binks, but you may have to try a Chewie. I tried the Chewie. That's actually pretty good.
How did he do
Nick
it?
is very good at doing Chewbacca.
Chewbacca is one of my favorite characters, and I think, and we could probably get into that too, but like I think that Han Solo movie, that could have been a blockbuster, and I think it should have been. It was a disaster.
Horrible story, but also it's just like how did they allow this to be? You know, I mean, they had a lot of problems. They had a lot of problems with Han Solo, right? But how did they get that script to where? How did they get so far that the script was in place and then they had the director? I mean, maybe the script was still being worked on set. I didn't read that much about it, but it was
aside from that, how do you have Donald Glover in there and you get like he has no input? Like that guy is smart.
Genius.
You know, like I think I would have been like, hey,
high potential. He's a high potential person. High potential intellectual.
Miss Sumpy, we love you, but you have to be part of the conversation or you have to leave.
Keep it quiet, Sumpy.
Sumpy, actually, if you want to do your mom's, I'd love to see what your mom is going to be in terms of
1, 2, 5, or 6.
That's her. Go ahead.
2, 1, 2. Now 1, 2, 5, or 6. 5. She chose 5.
The same.
Darth Vader. I was literally just thinking. I was just thinking about imagine she gets Darth Vader.
Called you out, Mel. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude,
Sempy's grounded for a week.
Great.
Daniel, you have to kill your sister.
No. I'm Yoda.
What were those?
Doesn't Yoda kill Darth Vader?
What were the? At least they turned good in the end. Vader. Okay, goodish.
Goodish, yeah.
Oh, no, you have to mentor your sister or something. I don't know. I can't remember. You have to mentor your mentor.
The one thing that I find
let your mom talk, Sempy. Go ahead.
One of the things that I find so remarkable about the entire franchise is the bad casting over and over and over. Like there's some incredible casting, especially in the early films, but then after that, just bad casting after bad casting after bad casting. And then when you have a great cast, underutilization of the cast, like bad writing.
Yeah, well, I think the writing issue is what's really killing it. And I think the issue that like fandom, like the Star Wars fandom has is like you don't even have to make up new stories. Go back and buy the old 70s, 80s books that they came out with and just choose one of those stories and do a not awful job. You know, like if you did that, the nostalgia of those old stories would carry it because you'd get a base of like 2 million ultra nerds that would definitely go see it, right? Then those ultra nerds would tell other people why it's important to the Star Wars universe. You know what I mean? Like, because they just can't shut up about it. And it would recalcify like this broken thing that they have. Like they have a broken thing. And the main reason why I think it's broken is because they're trying to shove our galaxy's politics and our galaxy's worldviews into a place that doesn't need it, because the whole idea was race didn't matter because everyone was either human or alien, you know, like, and it just didn't matter. You were just friends with people who were cool or not cool, you know, like, and the bad guys were not cool. I don't,
again, you bring up this thing about politics. I think that, again, it's very American. It's not like our universe's politics. It's very American worldview. That's what they're bringing into this, and it doesn't work, I think. Like, there's so many...
Any worldview.
Like, they don't understand how... I mean, yes, they're telling a human story. They're trying to tell a human story.
Right. And the human story has to stay in the good versus evil.
They don't understand the significance of language. They don't understand the significance of place, because people are, like, planet hopping. They do once in a while like talk about with the Organas being from a very wet world or whatever, like how that is super important to them, but they don't really get into it. It's not really, I mean, there's so much about humanity because they are American that is missed in the larger story, and you just would think that when trying to build out such an enormous universe, that they would bring in more traditional storytellers to help them come up with ideas, even, you know?
Yeah, well, but anyone who could write.
Okay, but then I'm going to say about Frozen 2. I know I'm jumping all over the place, but like here, Frozen where we have 2. We're bringing in indigenous. We're okay facing a fact that like their mom is indigenous or whatever, and they're even bringing in like indigenous choral singers and stuff. But how, again, because they don't understand what it means to be a part of this holistic environment. It's garbage.
It you know?
Look at my new
terrible.
hair.
It was
I think that was the same problem with Moana 2. It's like they brought the indigenous crew over from like Frozen. And it's
there
like,
is no problem in either of the two movies. Moana I loved Frozen 2 and I loved Moana 2. Yes. And I'd also liked...
And that's why we have to drive you to school.
And I hated Frozen 1. I hated
Well, you were
Frozen.
Scared of it. That's not the same as hating it.
Same with Moana.
Anybody died?
I would like...
She didn't like Moana 1 because her grandmother died.
Okay, it's Sampi's turn. Let's give Sampi a turn. Okay, Sampi, talk to us about...
No!
It's mom's turn.
I would like to say that first of all, I got Obi-Wan Kenobi, and second of all, that means I have to find the dog, train it, then you have to train it, and then because your son needs to be trained by Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, people are not dogs.
Your son,
because you're Darth Vader.
Okay,
TJ,
I gotta take a break.
Your son
we all have to take a break. It's 4:40. How long have we been recording?
Wait. I have to train my uncle.
Okay, so why don't we wrap up?
Let's point out that I have to train my uncle, and then I have to train the dog, and then I have to train the... Oh, wait, no.
Well, let's definitely do the
mom.
Force Awakens.
I have to train my mom, and then I have to train my brother of a dog, and then my uncle has to train my dog.
Okay, Sempi.
Think about that.
Okay, Sempi, you have to learn the difference between a YouTube channel and a podcast. Because what you're doing is good. What you're doing is good for YouTube, but it's very distracting on a podcast.
I don't think it's good on YouTube. I think what she doesn't understand is
it's going to go to YouTube eventually.
It's also scripted. She doesn't get that.
You have to realize it's going to be much shorter, and it's only going to be pieces that are interesting. So the pieces the pieces where you're talking over people, the robot's going to cut it out because it's just confusing.
Too noisy.
Does that make sense?
I will attack you next time I see you if you don't post the whole thing on YouTube.
I am not afraid of a 10-year-old girl. We used to get beat up by a 40-year-old man. Like we're not. We're
actually bit me. She actually bit me hard.
Grumpy. Come on, that is the way to lose friends.
Okay, honestly, we're getting off of this right now.
I don't bite.
All right. So I love you guys. Thank you guys for so much for spending so much time with me.
I will bite you on the arm.
Hey, Sempi, we will invite you back if you will try to engage in the conversation. All right?
I was engaging in the conversation for a little bit.
You were engaging in a conversation that was in your head with people that did not exist. So that's different. All right. But we do want to have your perspective. That's important. And we trust that your opinions have meaning and purpose, okay? We want to hear your opinions, but you have to give other people a chance to talk. But I have really enjoyed this, actually. I think this was super fun.
It was good until I got bit.
Yeah, the biting definitely ruins the mood.
Yeah.
Violence
That's
is never
what I'm
okay.
Gonna do to you.
And this is actually something I have to teach Evelyn. Evelyn's pretty violent from time to time. And
I'm
it's
gonna do
dude,
that.
That's not the answer. It's never the answer.
Yeah.
All right,
Daniel,
cool. Love you, sis. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Bye, Daniel.
Bye.
Next time
love you guys.
I will bite you.
All right.
Peace.
No, she won't.
Be careful. I'll bite back.